Hello, Johanna Russell, and the request has come up, what does this flipped classroom look like within my space? I just want to know that this is the way I flip and the structures I use, but this is a way, not the way. So feel free to use, steal, modify, or do something totally different from me. But people were asking the questions, and so we wanted to give you an inside look into my classroom. So the first thing you need to know is we are in the hallway because I consider the hallway my classroom. I use this wall behind me to put up these sheets where students write their goal for the day. This is an extremely important part of my flipped classroom, is that students have a concrete goal. So sorry, we're going to do a lot of dancing. Hello, how are you? So this is the sheet that I use. The goal has to be a true false goal. So it can't be, I'm going to paint today. It has to be, I'm going to complete my background, or I'm going to paint half of my sculpture. Students readdress their goal by saying, did you meet it, yes or no? And do you need a pass? They are held accountable for this information, and if they want freedoms in my room, they need to fulfill their learning goals and set realistic goals. I do train them on how to do this. And then I have to meet in with each student during class time to make sure that they met their goal. I do this really organically. There's several different ways that I meet with students, and we'll go through that in this video. And then I just sign it off as I do it. If at the end of class, just before cleanup, I realize, oh, didn't talk to Billy today, then I'm like, I need to see Billy, Anna, and Sam, and then that's how I meet with them just before cleanup. Then, once they have written their goal, I will let you know that down here, I normally have a table. It's summer, so it's not here right now, where I store all of the learning guides. So if they don't know their goal, they can get out their learning guide. They have their learning guide when they come meet me at the door. So I stand right here. This is where they hand me their packet. We talk about whether they met their goal. I sign off their packet. If I feel like they're ready to learn, they are entered into the learning space. If they don't have a goal or don't know what they are doing, or were gone the class time before, which I know because they'll be missing my signature in the calendar, then they stay outside the classroom space. If for some reason someone isn't doing what they're supposed to, they're saying hi to someone instead of getting done whatever the screen says, they are also removed from the classroom space. I strongly enforce this. Crossing this threshold means I am ready to learn. So, sorry, we're gonna keep going. I gotta make time. Okay, small bun. Once they come into my room, they are trained to stare at the screen. Again, I'm standing right at that door, so if they don't stare at the screen, I can see. This screen tells them what they need to do right away in green. It tells them what their goal is, if for some reason it's different than what they've written. And it tells them the schedule for the day and how much cleanup time they have. If they don't do what this screen says, they are removed from my classroom space. And that first 2 weeks, I'm sending kids out of the room constantly. And I'm just training. When we come into the art room, what are we doing? We are here to learn. Okay, so what does that look like? I need to look at the screen. Okay, then once you've done that, what do you need to do? Well, it said I need to write a goal and set a goal. Okay, what was your goal? Oh, Okay, so what do we need to do It's just that training them to become self-directed learners. Okay, but sometimes self-directed learners have questions. So how's that handled? Oops. So I have two systems. The first one is take a number. So if it's a quick question, they just take a number. And a lot of times I'll greet them at the door and say, ooh, you should grab a number. So these people can continue their learning. If for some reason they're stuck and can't move on in their learning, then as long as you're seated and not stopping others from learning, I know they're not doing anything because they have a question. So it prevents me from misinterpreting behavior problems that are just, I'm waiting for you problems. Then I have a take 5 at the J rest. This is 5 minutes of my time. It's like a doctor's appointment. They can take a card, say on Monday, write their name down, and then they know they will have 5 minutes of time with me. This is them guiding what they need. It could be they want a demo. It could be that they have questions about their project. I've had kids take these because they just wanted to talk. Students or teachers have wondered, like, do I lose these or what happens to these? You'll notice they're all here. Like, some of them have been loved and abused, but this is generally your highly motivated student who is willing to set up an appointment with teacher and they just always have their card. They put back their card. Okay, gotta go through my sticky notes. This board, by the way, is my magnet board. It's just been cleared for the summer. So I, a lot of times, have students kind of go down the row. They read the screen, they take a number, they check out where they were on the board. Okay, did goal setting, screen, take 5, structures. Okay, so in my classroom, I greet them at the door. That takes 10 minutes. Then I have my VIPs. So my VIPs are people who did not, sorry, you got stuck on a chair. My VIPs are people who did not meet their learning goals. So if I tilt this down, you'll see I have this long set of tables. So I'll tell them you're VIP today. VIP means that you don't get to choose your seat. You also don't have to wait in line. You don't need to take a number. You're VIP. However, that not being able to pick a different seat or sit next to your friends means they don't like to be VIPs very often. But I spend 5 minutes or so with the VIPs making sure they know what to do. Oftentimes the goal is more written by me than by them, because if they aren't meeting VIP goals, then it is becoming behavior. This is never a behavior consequence. This is always a learning consequence. It might be the result of a behavior choice, but it is because the learning was not met. Okay, that gets us into behaviors. How do I manage behaviors? Spinning, spinning, spinning. I have elected officials. Elected officials in my room are the ones that do everything not focused on learning, okay? Because let's keep track. About 5 minutes I spend at the door of class time, 5 minutes with VIPs. I forgot to say this, sorry. Then I go to my take a numbers. That's another 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes. Then I go to my take 5s. Then I make sure I've talked to every single student. Then it's time for cleanup. I don't have time to write passes. I don't have time to deal with Billy who's goofing off. Poor Billy, he's not having a good day. So how do I manage that? Well, I take all the routines and I outsource them to students with elected officials. They elect an overlord, an attendance master, a door security guard, a hospitality host, an island dictator, a tools captain, a pass czar. I will have a little handout that explains what each of these jobs do, but basically anything that needs done in your room that's not connected to learning, outsource it. Then I have them vote on who these people should be, and again, I'm going to have this as a handout to explain more completely. They have timers, they have clipboards, but here's what I will tell you. I have no idea why this works. It totally and completely works. The accuracy of my attendance, of my pass information. I use PBIS tickets to be able to actually leave the room, but to know who's coming in and what period and who. They keep meticulous records way, 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 way better than I ever kept. Okay, so that's a little bit on behavior and elected officials. Okay, what happens when it all goes wrong? Like I look around the room. Oh, I should show you my room. I keep looking at the screen. I'm sorry, I should look at you. Okay. So this is my classroom space. I am very blessed with a wonderful space. I section it into learning stations. So the different learners all have their own space. There's normally a third space over here, but that's full of stuff. Behind the island, I also have a separate space for messy. So I do a lot of divide and conquer. And that helps me with general classroom management. They kind of stick to what they know in their own little clusters. So if you happen to have things in rows, if you're able to cluster students, I highly recommend it. But if it all goes wrong, then I ding my bell and we all go in the hall. I never ever address classroom behavior in this room. So we go to the hall and make them line up against the wall. We reassess goals, we reassess standards, and then they are welcomed back into the classroom space. What if it's a particular student? Our school system has behavior forms. You have to assume a student is going to screw up. They're going to goof off. They're going to do something they're not supposed to do. All you have to do is make a system for what to do when they do that. So I have forms that are pre-filled out that just require student signatures. And I have determined what happens at each level. So I have all my documentation. I make notes on the back. Unfortunately, this is a document I cannot share with you because it is created with my district, but there's lots of examples that you can see online, Pinterest, all that stuff. Then every time a student, they've gotten to knock it off, that's not working, they want me to do more than that, I have tickets that they have to fill out. Getting a ticket doesn't mean you're in trouble, but it does mean that you are asked to leave the classroom space and you need to explain why I'm seeing those behaviors. It could be because there's something I'm not understanding. Again, this is district created, so this isn't something I can share, but there's lots of examples online. I do the same thing if I happen to have tardies, is also that ticket system. So I track all my behaviors, and I didn't have a conversation. I have a note filled out with everything on there, so I don't need to go and be with that student. They have a timeout by themselves. Once they have completed the expectation, they are welcomed back into the classroom space. If they continue to goof off, they are exiting the classroom space, filling out another ticket, having another consequence, and then welcomed back in. I often find that that 5 or 10 minutes to fill out the ticket means that the behaviors stop. I also have cards, it's not up, but, and this came from Pinterest, it's not mine, that say stop and think. So if a kid's goofing off, I have stop and think cards in my pocket. I don't have to say anything. I just literally go to this kid and I lay down a stop and think card and then I leave. The student, and this is the only thing I have to keep track of in my head, the student then acknowledges they screwed up by signing their name to the back and then handing me the stop and think card. If I know I handed out a stop and think card to Billy and it's been 5 minutes and I haven't gotten that handed back to me, then Billy unfortunately is to the point where he doesn't understand his behavior choices as being a bad one. But having the warning not be vocal allows me to still be in the moment with the learners. Also, notebooks in the classroom, huge help. Nothing comes in. Their phones come in, or any other technology that we need for the class, and then that's it. Okay, which gets me, oh gosh, it's been a long video. Technology, how do I handle that? Okay, I put technology right up here, on here, boom, 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 boom. I also have headsets right up here, boom, 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 boom. And then I just have them numbered, and then they float. Kids know, be the first here if you want the technology first. They grab the technology if they don't have any, it goes out into the room. They quickly learn, like, I need that after you're done, so it floats. They're never really near my VIP area or it just stays out on the table. And then a part of cleanup is my overlord is responsible for initialing on my board that every single device was here, so we know that it all came back. Okay, right after making that video, I watched it, and there's like 8 million things that go into each one of us, like how we handle behavior, but there are a couple of things that I realized, ooh, I should really tell them that. So when I'm having students leave my room, I've been very purposeful in communicating with my administrators how I do that, but B, they're never out of my sight or out of my ability to hear them. When you are not ever having to do a demo, you have lots of time. I mean, if you take out cleanup, like I have 37 minutes where I have nothing to do but talk to students and see what they're working on and see what they need help with, and then I don't show it to them, I advise them of the next video. Or I'm making quick videos because I realize they need something and I don't have a support for that. So I say, I'll get that for you next time, because I'm doing my grading in class. So I have time during my plan to make those videos. And that's part of why I'm not attached to editing, is because I do a lot of on the spot, like, here, let me show you what I do. I just take my computer screen, see? And then if a kid needs a quick little demo, boom, I can post it to YouTube or post it to our servers as another option. Okay, so sorry for the long video. I want this to work for you. And I spent so long like having it not work for me. And so now I just want it to be like magical and perfect and everything. So make sure that you're asking for help and analyzing, and best of luck. Thanks.